Well, welcome everyone to another Maximize Monday. Each Monday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, we bring to you live opportunity calls from Zango leaders that are experiencing all the success and all the blessings that a Zango business has to offer. And tonight we have our very special guest, Ray Herron. Ray Herron is a 500K premier with Zango, also a member of the multi-million-dollar club. Ray is a 30-plus year veteran of the network marketing industry and has enjoyed those 5- and even 6-figure monthly incomes for decades in multiple companies, and is pretty much an expert in the industry because he was personally mentored by Jim Rohn. So he started out like most people do, not really knowing what to do or how to do it, but he had a dream, he had a why, and he had a mentor. And with that, Ray plugged in and did what he was told to do, and he achieved the success he was told he would if he just did those things. I feel particularly blessed because Ray Herron is my personal sponsor. I feel like I've personally been mentored by Jim Rohn. His wisdom is incredible. His leadership, he's always there for every member of the team, no matter how deep. And he is helping Zango distributors all over the world realize their dreams. So let me introduce you to tonight's speaker, Ray Herron.
Thank you, Collie. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you great.
Thank you so much. Collie, it's been a great almost 15 years now that you and I have been friends and business associates, and you have helped me out of so many binds. You're always there to put together all the technology that I'm always fumbling with. Evidence is here tonight, so sorry for the little bit of delay, but it's been great, always working with you, and I appreciate you so very much. And I appreciate all of you that's taken the time to be on this call with us tonight. My goal is to talk a little bit about, you know, there's an old saying, we've all heard it, it's dance with the one who brung you, you know, so I still like dancing with Zango. It is absolutely one of the most unique products I have ever seen in my entire life. My mentor, Jim Rohn, said this. He said, guess where disease is? He says it's always, always pushing right up against whatever you've got planned to keep it away. Now, we're not supposed to make medical claims, and I'm not making any, but I can tell you with 15 years experience with the Zango juice, it's a pretty good plan to keep you as healthy as you possibly can be. It's not that, it's not, I don't know if I'd call it a miracle, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. It just seems to give the body what it needs to keep disease at bay. It's certainly been that way for me. And boy, if I really could, if I was allowed to just tell all the stories personal stories with people that I care about, love deeply, many of them built businesses. Some of them just enjoyed this product. But I really, truly believe that I got a lot of friends still on this earth because of this product. So I never get tired talking about it. And I'm always intrigued by the stories people tell me, especially those that are the doubters, you know, and that's most of us. We all probably shouldn't believe everything we hear in life. I agree with that, but when someone's bold enough to try this product, Zango, and try it for a good 90 days, they'll see some pretty major changes taking place in their health and their well-being. And got a special guest here with me tonight, a lady that I love dearly, her and John and her whole family. She is a 100K distributor here with the company Zango. This lady, if any of you know anything about the Amway business, she reached the pinnacle of triple diamond. It's the most rare air. It's probably one in maybe 3-4 million people could ever attain that title. She had enjoyed great success in this industry and was not looking to get involved with another opportunity, but this product, like it always does, I always teach people, look, we're just looking for people that are looking for us. Share the product, let them get results, and it will weave its way to people that you and I would never get the opportunity to see or meet. And that's kind of what happened with this. I want to proudly introduce you to one of my best friends in the world. I love her dearly, Mary Spoelstra. Mary, are you there?
I am here. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Just kind of look at that pretty lady, would you, up on that computer screen. You're gorgeous.
You're too kind. Yes,
well, Mary, I want to say this before you get going. I want us all to just really listen to this story, because you could have introduced this product, Zango, to someone that would have worked its way to a very talented business person like Mary. And Mary will be the first to tell you, I don't know if her sponsor's still in the business. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So tell us your story about Zango, Mary.
I will. First, I'm going to begin with when I was first introduced to network marketing, because I knew absolutely nothing about it. And just a kid I went to high school with, invited me over to look at it. And I looked at some very successful people in the Amway business at that time, and I thought, are you kidding me? Anybody can do this? Are you kidding me? You don't have to have a business degree. You can get into this business and you can make things like that happen? Are you kidding me? And I was just so excited to know that this business model was available to anybody. And I thought, well, I don't know what the heck they did, but I know this. I can learn, and I can do it. And it was that simplicity. And I remember saying when I first started network marketing, and I wasn't even a direct yet, Charlie Marsh, and you've all heard of him in the Amway business, I said, if you guys will just dare to believe and do it, you'll succeed. And Charlie jumped up out of the audience, and he was running around saying, that's it, she's got it. And I thought, what the heck's he talking about? Because I didn't realize how important that was at the time. But that's how I felt, and I dared to believe. And, I was a diamond within 3 years and triple diamond after that, and it didn't take long. And I thought, oh, my gosh, I'm free. I can have income. I can spend time with my family. I'm free. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the entire world. And honestly, it was more than 30 years ago. It was 50 years ago, believe it or not. And I thought, this is unbelievable. And I've been retired for 25 years, just living off the great business that was produced, when a friend of mine came over and showed me a brochure and said, and I knew a little bit about nutrition and health and so on, and she wanted me to look at this brochure and get my opinion if I thought she should give it to her husband, who had some issues going on. And I said, well, I'll look at it. I said, I don't know if I know, but I'll look at it. And while I was looking at that brochure, I said, absolutely, there's no reason not to. There's nothing toxic in this. It's awesome. But I noticed in the brochure that there were some anti-cancer properties in the xanthones, in the juice. And I said, oh, my gosh, I need a case yesterday for my sister. She was just found out she had cancer, and, it was going so fast, and I was buying everything I could find for her. And I said, I need it now. Order it quick. So I did. Unfortunately, I got it the day she went into a coma, because she only lasted 20 days from the time they told her she had cancer till she was gone. So I got it. She was gone. At the time, I had a herniated disc in my back. I was on OxyContin and Valium and ice packs, and now I had this case of juice sitting here, and I thought, well, I might as well drink it. It had anti-cancer properties in it, and I'd had cancer before once, so I thought, can't hurt. I'll just drink it while I'm waiting for surgery. And there was a few delays in getting the surgery done, so I'm drinking the juice. And these are not medical claims. I'm just telling you from experience what happened. So within 2 weeks, I'm thinking, what's going on? My pain is gone, and I was on OxyContin and Valium and ice packs. And I'm walking, and I'm thinking, what in the heck? I never had surgery. And I thought, it can't possibly be that juice. It can't possibly. But, what happened was I herniated a disc. The herniated disc was injured, so it was swollen, and the swelling pressed on a nerve. Well, when the inflammation came down from the injured disc, the pressure went off the nerve. And so I never had back surgery, and I thought, holy cow, what is this stuff? So now I'm trying to find out what it is. Prior to that time, I didn't have time. I was just trying to get it for my sister. So now I'm looking into what's the science behind this? What is this stuff, and why have they been using it? And, I was so excited. And John had a heart attack in 2002, and they put him on all kinds of medication, and cholesterol-lowering drugs and what have you. His cholesterol was 150 only when he had that heart attack. And it was a minor one, but they put him on all these drugs, and I watched the drugs aging him terribly. And when we got started in this, I said, John, what if you just try this? Because it was time to renew his prescriptions, and it was easy to just not do it. He wasn't really into it. He's not into natural at that point, and so he said, yes, dear, and he would drink it when I'd hand it to him, even inconsistently like that. Well, he drank it for about 3 months. I'd try to get it to him every day, but it was kind of inconsistent. He goes back to the doctor for a blood test. Now, he hasn't had any medicine for 3 months. And he goes back, and he had blood tests before that, 3 months prior. And he goes back to the doctor for a blood test, and I want him to do the CRP test too. And so the nurse called back, and she says, well, the doctor was furious because he wasn't on, what the heck was it? Lipitor. And John says, well, give me a blood test. He says, well, I'll give you one after you're back on Lipitor. He says, no, I want one now. So the nurse calls with the blood test, and I said, okay, read me John's blood numbers. Now, I've got his blood test from before when he was on all the drugs. And she's reading me all the numbers, and I'm writing them down right next to the others. And she says, well, now the doctor wants John on Lipitor. And I said, well, why would that be? I said, he hasn't had Lipitor for 3 months, and every single one of his numbers has improved. The good went up and the bad went down across the board. I said, why should he take Lipitor? And she says, well, you want another drug? And I said, what would the side effects be? And she says, well, I guess they're about the same. And I said, no. Why would anybody do that? So, and I'm not telling people not to take their drugs. I'm just telling you my personal experience. So John goes on, and I said, oh, what was the CRP anyway? And she said, oh, it was 8. And I said, well, that's too high. And she said, oh, we don't worry about it unless it's over 9. I said, well, you don't have to. I know it should be under 3, and I'll take care of that. So John comes home that day, and I told him what his blood numbers were. He was so excited. He says, really? Where is that stuff? So he's very consistent, and he's drinking it. His blood numbers went back to 1. 1, not 9, not 8, 1. His CPR went to 1. And I thought, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So I got excited, and I wasn't looking for something to do. I was retired, and John's 80 now, and he's going like a house afire. He looks fantastic. And I'm 76, and we're still going strong. So now I'm so excited about what we have found. I'm calling a few of my friends and saying, you guys, I ran across something. You got to hear about this. And I remember this one, Jenny, you know her, Ray. And I said, Jenny, I've run across something that's really fantastic. She says, well, I want to see it. And I said, well, she says, can you come down tonight? I said, no, I can't. I got a few people coming over. She says, well, are you talking about this? I said, yes, I am. She said, we'll be there. I said, okay. So she came up here. Now, her husband was so ill. He was walking in with a walker. He was totally gray, could hardly even talk. I thought, I haven't seen him in years. And Al came in, and my heart just sunk. I said, you guys, this can't hurt you. There's nothing in it to hurt you, but it might help. Try it. I'm telling you, that guy, within a year or so, he was walking down the stairs without a walker. He had color back. He was laughing and joking like he used to be. It gave him another 7 years to his life, because the doctor thought he was about a goner at that point. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this stuff is phenomenal. And I called other friends, and I thought, what if I hadn't called Jenny? What if I hadn't called her? Where would Al be? Would he have enjoyed those 7 more years of his life when he was well into his 80s then? But I called another friend, and I said, Carol, oh my gosh. I said, I've run across something. We've got to talk. I said, let's have lunch. And I said, I know we haven't seen each other in a long time, but we'll do some catch-up. But I got to show you what I found. So I'm talking to her, and she's telling me about it. And I'm telling her about what I had seen with this, and she's getting teary-eyed. And I said, what is wrong? And she said, we're afraid we're going to lose Jen. I said, what? I haven't seen her in about 10 years. And Jen was her daughter. She was like 28 at that point. She had 2 little kids, and she had ulcerative colitis so bad she couldn't go anywhere. She had to sit on a beach towel. If she went in a car, she'd call ahead, make sure the door's unlocked when I get there. She couldn't go to the school functions, and 2 different doctors told her they were going to take her colon out. And she said, I'm just not ready for that. And they said, well, we'll get it sooner or later because there's no cure for what you've got. And she says, well, it'll have to be later. I'm just not ready. So I said, Carol, try it. It can't hurt her. Now, the girl was on so much medication. She was on a whole shoebox full, and she couldn't remember when she fed her kids, changed them. She had to write it down every time because her mind was so fogged from all the medications she was on. So the girl said, oh, Mom, we've tried everything. She said, I know. I'm not asking you to buy it. Just try it. So the next morning she drinks probably 4 or 5 ounces. She couldn't remember what her mom told her. And that night she called her mom and she says, I don't know if it's that stuff you gave me or what, but the brain fog is starting to lift a little bit. She said, well, just keep drinking it, Jen. Keep drinking it. Well, I want to tell you, shockingly, this young girl, 28 years old, within 6 weeks, she's off all medications. And she had a shoebox full of medications. Now, the doctors told her before, don't ever get pregnant. It'll kill you. You'll never make it through it. And so she quietly took the juice for a whole year and just prayed that something, because they wanted to have one more child. So at the end of the year, she goes to her GYN and she says, I want you to do every test on me to make sure that I'm healthy enough to have a baby. And he says, I haven't. You're as healthy as anyone I know. So she gets pregnant. Now she's sitting on pins and needles, drinking the juice, and scared to death, of course, naturally. Doctors tell you that. You're going to be. And finally, the baby comes. She has a normal delivery. The baby is as healthy as can be, and Jen is too. Now, I had to ask myself, what if I hadn't called Carol? What if I hadn't called her mother? What if I hadn't called Jen? And there's another guy, Duffy. I mean, some of these are just so shocking that it blows my mind. Duffy had, oh God, everything from, the disease from the veterans and from Vietnam and everything else. His lungs were just destroyed, and he'd go to a doctor way out in Denver because it was that bad. And they told Duffy, he says, if there's anything you really want to do in life, do it now because I can't promise you another week. And so Duffy goes to Florida to visit some relatives and thinking it's his last trip. And while he's down there, he looks in the refrigerator of his I think it was his cousin or something, and goes in the refrigerator, sees a bottle of Zyme. He said, what's that? And so they start telling him about it. He starts drinking it. Now, this is 10 years ago, okay? And Duffy starts drinking it. And he comes back, and his improvements are shocking the doctor out in Denver. And he says, Duffy, he says, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to write you a prescription. You drink 2 cases of that every month. He says, I don't know what's happening to you. He says, but you have never seen this improvement. And I'm thinking, holy cow, what have we got in our hands? Now, I was retired. I wasn't looking for a business, but I thought, I don't deserve this if I'm not willing to share it. Now, I know some people aren't going to listen to me. I know that. I mean, that's a given. But some are. And maybe the person I'm talking to isn't the one that really needs it. Like I talked to my friend Carol, it was her daughter Jen that really needed it. And I think, what if I hadn't called these people? Where would my husband be today with all those medications he was taking? Where would I be? My whole family's died of cancer. I'm doing great. I feel wonderful. I'm 76. I feel awesome. And I think about all these people and the lives that have changed. Now, we don't make medical claims. You can't. It's not a prescription drug. It's something made by God. And I always had the idea to make a big plaque and say, created by God, captured by Zango in a bottle, so we could share it with the world. And that's the way I feel about it. It's just been a phenomenal product, and it has done wonders for our life. And the network marketing business model, it's the best ever. The things you will meet, the people you will meet in this business. Ray Herron is one of my best friends in the whole world. I wouldn't have met him had I not been in Zango. And that's the way it goes in network marketing. Is there challenges? Sure there is. Heck yes. There's challenges in life. If you sit in the chair and do nothing, I suppose maybe not too many. But if you're out there in the world, there's going to be challenges. But the rewards are so satisfying. And yes, there's a lot of money in it, of course. If you build a big business, there's a lot of money in it. But the rewards are phenomenal from the health standpoint. Watching people and their health improve that you had something to do with? Are you kidding me? That's awesome. You go to bed with a smile on your face when you think about those people, and you think, that is awesome. I made a difference by just sharing something that God made a long time ago and the wonderful benefits of it. So do I like network marketing? I do. I do. I love the idea. I love the people. And the product, you can't beat it. It's the best. And I thank all the people that put it all together because it's phenomenal.
Well, you're phenomenal, Mary. I love you. Thank you so very much for sharing. I know the reason I wanted you on. You share from the heart, probably better than anybody I know. And what I find fascinating is I love the industry too, and I love the people. I love your story and these people that you're talking about. I know them.
I know you do.
I know their stories, and there's a picture of us. I'm looking on the screen here. There's Mary and John on the far left. That's at our old lodge up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan there. We've had some good times there. I remember the first time I actually met Mary, we were on a beautiful Zango trip over in the Cayman Islands. And there's a lot of people out by the swimming pool. We had a cocktail party out there and some hors d'oeuvres. And Mary walks up and introduces herself, and she says, I understand you have a lodge up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I said, I do indeed. She said, well, what does it take to come there? And I looked at her, and we just had a cancellation. We usually try to put 30 people in the lodge for about 3 days. We eat good, and we have just great fellowship and a little bit of training, not too awful much. It's relationships. That's what network marketing's all about. And I said, well, how good are you? Because we had this cancellation come up. It's like a week later, wasn't it, Mary?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I said, well, how good are you? I got about 30 people. I've got a cancellation, and if you can make it, she said, well, you can count on it. You can book it. Well, I think she actually brought more than capacity. So this is a lady with influence, and the reason that they all came is because of who she is. And, you're just always a blessing to me and a blessing to Zango. And
well, you and all that you have done for so many people with your lodge and everything you do is indeed a blessing. And you're a great inspiration. You have influenced the world, Ray, around the world. And that's awesome. And I thank you so much.
That's sweet of you to say that. I'm looking through the chats here. The various people signing in. Where is this one? I'm going to tell a real cute story. I'm going to go over a little bit, Collie, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Feed them well, Ray.
I'm looking here at, is it Kathy Emerton in Portland, Oregon. Kathy, would you go see my son Ryan and tell him to call his dad? I'm glad you're on, Kathy, and all of you. Thank you so much for investing some of your evening with us. I tell you a cute story about my son. We live, this time of year we live in Florida because the weather's nice, and in the summer we go back home to where we live in northern Michigan, a beautiful little town called Sutton's Bay, and just love it. And it's a small town, and I can hear every ambulance, And those of you that are parents, you can appreciate this. And I got 3 teenagers, all of them with cars and driving. And I can, every time an ambulance goes, well, I'm calling all the kids, make sure they're all okay. And it got to the point where they called me first, checking in. We're fine, Dad. We're fine. Well, my son in Portland, Kathy, called me recently. He goes, Daddy, you okay? I'm here in Florida. And I said, well, yeah, son, why? And he goes, well, I heard an ambulance, and I just wanted to check on you.
I love it.
Anyway, it was a cute story. Love my kids for sure. I got involved in network marketing because I wanted desperately for my children to have a better shot at life than I had. I grew up, most of you know my story. I'm from Oklahoma. Grew up very poor, born in a house with a dirt floor. My mom and dad divorced at an early age and kind of was raised on with good, caring relatives willing to share with us, and welfare in the state of Oklahoma and Texas, and moving around so much. I'd moved, and most people find this fascinating, but it's true. I had been to as many as 11 public schools in 1 year of my life as a young boy. So my life was pretty crazy growing up. And, when Cheryl and I, we've been married now for 35 years, and we got 4 children, bing, 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 bing. And I wanted more than anything else for them to have a better life than I had. And I'd experienced more of life and more embarrassments because of the lack of money than I care to talk about. And I didn't want them to go through that, so I was desperately looking. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was desperately looking. And someone introduced me to this industry. I didn't think I wanted to do it at all. And I went to a meeting in Dallas, Texas, met some people, much like the lady that you heard here tonight, Mary, and I heard Steve Hall on the phone here with us tonight. Steve could tell you lots of stories. And, I met these people. They seemed like they were just different than the people I knew. That, they were fun to be around. They had a great attitude, and some of them were making some pretty serious money. And when you're dead broke, that'll get your antennas up. And so I thought, wow, I can do this. They can do it. Kind of like you said, Mary. Hey, just dream. If you can dream big enough. And my dream was big, but I was lacking in money. I was behind in all of our bills. Sometimes not even paying the utilities on time. Then you get the opportunity to give them more of a deposit for them to turn them back on. And that's what my life was like. And by the grace of God, who knows? My mentor, Jim Rohn, said, who can describe good fortune? I don't know that I can, but I think God Almighty had something to do with it. But right away I got introduced to Jim Rohn, and I had a friend of mine that actually marketed Jim Rohn seminars back in those days and introduced me to the man, and forever changed my life. And I always, when I get the opportunity, I tell people, if you really want a head start in building your network marketing business, then, there's lots of guys out there that are great presenters and gals. They're wonderful. But you don't need to spend thousands of dollars. Just invest about $40 or less in yourself. Go to Jim Rohn, ROHN International, and just get yourself a personal CD set called The Challenge to Succeed. When he gave that to me, it was in audio tape form way back in the day. And it was The Challenge to Succeed in the 90s. It was in the mid-80s when he came out with that. It's still easily today his most popular thing. And you can have probably, in my opinion, the best coach there is. Jim Rohn said this to me. He said, young man, success will never sneak up on you and overtake you. Success is something that you go for. You got to go for it. You got to make up your mind and really go for it. He's the first person that I've ever heard say, and I've heard many people say it since, but he said, if you find the right network marketing company and built your business for 90 days as if your life was hanging in the balance, it could set you up financially for the rest of your life. Now, when you're a poor boy from Oklahoma, broke with 4 small kids at home, your wife keeping other people's kids in order to try to help you make a living, that kind of stuff is impactful. It was for me. I didn't have to pretend that my life was hanging in the balance. It was. And so I just went for it. I didn't know any better. I was as green as they could be, and he told me to buy no, he didn't. He gave me a book. As a matter of fact, it's a paperback book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He said, there's a lot of weird stuff in there. Pass on the weird, but you'll know what's good. That's what he told me. And I remember, Napoleon Hill said, find out what you want, write it down, and read it often. So I wrote on a little card that I'd be earning $5,000 in my 3rd month in my new network marketing business 31 years ago. And I read that thing every day. And I called, like Mary, I called everybody I knew. I had a product at the time I believed in. It gave me energy. It seemed to be a great product, seemed to be a great company. And so I just called everybody and said, I found the greatest thing. And there's a business opportunity attached to it. There's some of us going to get real wealthy. Do you want to be one of them? That's just how green I was. Today they'd probably lock me up if I had that attack. But I talked to everybody. I called, and I did. I worked as if my life depended on it because I thought it did. I knew my children's life did. If that one didn't work, I need to find something else that would work so that they didn't have to experience life like I had growing up. Well, I'll never forget working hard, talking to everybody I knew. Most of them said no. my third month's royalty override check in that company was $5,310. Never forgot it. And I never, ever looked back. And I've continued from that time on. It's the only thing I've ever done. Unfortunately, that company, it went bankrupt some years later. But, you know, like Jim Rohn said, if you got the skills, you just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go do it again.
Amen.
Which we did. So we ended up with Zango, and by far the premier choice of all of them, and we've been here now since the very beginning. It's just been an incredible ride. I want to share with all of you tonight, though, just a little simple formula that I've always used, and some of you've heard it before. Maybe you think it's a novel idea and you're always going to get around to doing it, and maybe you haven't. I want to encourage you tonight to just at least think about what I'm going to share with you. I have a little system where I believe everybody, if they'll simply do this, they will have success. I can't predict the degree of success anybody's going to have, but I do know that if you'll do this, I mean just religiously for a period of 3 to 6 months, you'll be well on your way to building a great big business. And I've tried to reduce things down to what I think are the 4 simplest steps that you can do whatever time you've allowed to work your Zango business. Just put this little thing in practice. 4 things. Number 1, you and I are just simply looking for people to talk to. That's all. There's no shortage of people. There's 350 million plus here in the United States alone, so there is no shortage of people. Now, I think that it's a little more difficult today than it has been in years past to introduce people to the network marketing business. Now, I don't know all the reasons for that. Could be the past administration, could be the current one. Who knows? I don't know. Jim Rohn says, hey, some things in life are just a mystery. It is a little harder today, but I do know this. Jim Rohn taught me, hey, numbers mean something. So if it's a little tougher to recruit today than it was 20 years ago, that just means simply this. I just need to work a little smarter, work a little harder than I worked before to get the same results that I had in the past. And I've used this little system. Number 1, look for people to talk to. You see it on the screen there. And we're going to talk about these little boxes here in just a minute because I think they're magical. And number 2, we want to share product or information with the people. That's all. Just do these 2 things. And then number 3, when you want to follow up with the people. Now, here's where I think a lot of people miss the boat. I determine the follow-up during process number 2. If I'm going to share, if I might give you a bottle of Zango, I got to tell you, Collie remembers, and I know Steve and Mary remembers in the beginning days, hey, you know, we invested in our business. I give plenty of people a case of product. I could throw them on the phone and they could give you some testimonies that it'd be frankly pretty hard to believe what happened to them. I believed in that product so much then as I do now. So for me, I'm not a great salesperson. Some people think I am, but I'm not. And I'm not comfortable with the sales process. So for me, I like to use samples, and I always have. Whether it be a bottle, when we had the little Zango singles, that was great, but we don't have them currently. But I used bottles of product. It took all the pressure off of me, knowing that selling for me is a little uncomfortable, and I know that buying is very uncomfortable to people. So I took all the pressure off of me and them. And I'd give them some product, and I'd let them know the reason I was doing that is I was looking for people to join me in my home-based business. If they love the product like I did, and they looked at the information, they saw the possibilities, that I'd like to talk to them about it. So they knew that. When I share something with someone, they know I'm going to follow up, and I try to set the follow-up at the time I give them a sample. If it's today, I'm going to try to shoot for 2 or 3 days from now, especially 2 days from now if I can get by with it. 48 hours, I want to call them and get their opinion, what it tastes like. And I got to tell you, it's just something I've developed over the years. I'm going to give you a testimony. If I call you in 48 hours and you maybe only tried the product for a couple of days, it's very likely you don't have a testimony. Well, I'm going to give you one. And a true one. I'm not going to make up anything. I'm going to tell you what I've seen with this product and give you a reason to continue to take the product. And you could have some business interest at that point, and when you do, I'm going to put you on number 4, which is I'm going to connect you to an upline partner, somebody that we're working with. It's a, network marketing, it's a full contact sport. And I don't know, the car business has known this forever. I suppose with the internet that's changed somewhat, but if you ever bought a new car, you knew, of course, the salesperson showing you the car had all the authority to sell you that car, but for some reason, just to ensure the sale, they wanted to take you back to the sales manager. Now it's kind of like it's a psychology thing. It's 2 against 1, 2 on 1. So it's always worked. So the follow-up call, when you can do it, I mean, when you get a little more skillful in your business, you might not need the number 4. But when you're beginning, I mean, I still really believe it's always the best thing to do. Always connect with the people. Number 1, look for people to talk to. There's no shortage. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for people that are looking for natural shortcuts to better health. Now, that takes care of about everybody I know, especially today. Insurance is a big problem for people. Not only, the cost of insurance, but trying to go to the doctor is expensive. People want to stay well. So I'm looking for people that are interested in staying well, and I'm looking for people that want to earn more money, and that's pretty much everybody that Ray Herron knows. So my audience is extremely large, and people ask me sometimes, well, how do you talk to strangers? Well, look, I look for people that impress me, people that have manners, people that have a smile on their face, and people you just kind of think you could enjoy spending some time with. So those are the kind of folks that I look for. And if you'll do this 4-step process, every day that you have dedicated the time to work your business, just do this. And you see these little boxes. I'm going to get a drink of water. I'll be right back. Thank you. Appreciate it. These little boxes, I think, they're just magical. Now, I know you can do this. Now, Collie laughs at me, I think, because Collie, she's so technical. I mean, you can do all this on the computer. You can do it on your smartphone. I know you can. But I got to tell you, unless you're as talented as Collie, you probably need these boxes because there's a lot of psychology here. You see the one A to Z on the left? That's where all your potential partners, your prospects. You just fill out, you use whatever size cards you're comfortable with. You can get these little boxes for $1.99 at Target, Walmart, any place. You put all your prospects in there. Use a 5x7. That's my suggestion. 3x5 will work, but you can't get that much information on them. 5x7 cards. You fill out all the information. If I'm on your prospect list, put my name down. If you know my children's name, put that down. If you know my wife's name, put that down. My cell phone number, if I still use a fax machine, which I do, you could put my fax number down, my home number, all the information you can put on that card, put it on there. And just start adding to that thing all the time. I would encourage you, people you went to school with, friends like Mary just talked about earlier, all the people you can think of, fill out a card and just start filing them in there alphabetically, and that's where you keep them. And when you start working your business, when you start using this little 1, 2, 3, 4 formula here, this little box over here, I call it the suspense file because you never know what's going to happen. It's got 1 through 31. Obviously, that represents the days of the month. As you begin this, looking for people to talk to, you start pulling cards out of your potential partner box here, and you start calling people. Tell them what you got. You want to share a sample or some information. Maybe it's a video. You got green light thinking. Do whatever you feel comfortable doing, and then you want to follow up with them. That's real key. When I said earlier, if I shared a sample with you and told you it's going to call you here in 2 days, I'd look, and 2 days from today is the 9th of the month. I'd simply take that, and I told you I was going to call you, ask you what was the best time. You said 7 o'clock. I'm going to take that card, I'm going to go over behind day number 9, and I'm going to put that card there. And I'll probably review everything I'm going to do on the 9th, the evening before, on the 8th, so that I can schedule my day. I know that I got to call you at 7 o'clock that evening, and I'm going to make a little note or two to myself what I gave you, what we're going to discuss. And you start, the whole goal is to get as many of these cards over in there. You want to look behind those days, and this won't happen week one, but I guarantee you after a few weeks, a few months, that thing will be so full. If you're doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, if you're doing that with the time you've got allocated to build your business, you'll have so many follow-ups it won't even be funny. Now let me tell you, here's something I know. I've been doing this so long, I know a little bit about human psychology. I've dealt with so many people for so long. I just know that there's something about life that says, you know, when you're accomplishing something, you just feel better about yourself. When you're being productive, everything tends to work out better. Everything, your whole attitude about life, about your relationships, about your business. And you know, Jim Rohn says this, doing less than you can do will set you up for every type of psychological damage that you can imagine. Now, I had spent a big part of my life, I wasn't a real young man when I discovered this industry, but, you know, I had to admit that I had, you know, feeling a lot sorry for myself and other things and just things not working out. I mean, one excuse right after another. You know, I had not done everything I was capable of doing. And he says, doing all that you can do will mean everything to you. So my charge to you tonight is to just consider this. Just think about it. It's something that's fun to do. You can, when you, whatever area you in your house you call your office, it might have been like me. It might have been the dining room table or a little corner of the bedroom there that you called your office. Just wherever your phone is, set those little boxes there. And as my mentor Jim Rohn would say, if you walk past that box and that suspense file, you look back from the month before, you got 1 or 2 follow-up cards in there. Mr. Rohn would say this, you got to have one of those don't kid yourself days anymore. You couldn't possibly have a dream to be financially independent and have one follow-up in your box. And if you're doing everything you can do, if you follow this little 4-step process, I promise you, you'll never run out of people to talk to. You won't be needing to run ads. You won't even need to be doing social media unless you want to. You won't have to. You'll be developing relationships. You'll be calling those people. They'll become your friends, and they'll become your business partners, and you're going to have a wonderful life together. I don't profess to have all the answers, folks. I never have. But I think I've got enough of them to help you be successful in your Zango business if you'll just simply do some, I think, common sense things. And I think for me, this is just simplicity. It's common sense, and it covers the major areas. We can't build a business if we don't talk to people. We can't possibly build a business if we don't share information about our business with people. And we can't possibly build a business if we don't follow up on that process. And helps if you do a team call with people. This has worked so well for me for over 3 decades. And the biggest dream and the biggest goal that I have is for more and more people to be successful in this thing called network marketing. And got a great company here, Zango. They just do the best they can every day. They care deeply about their distributors. They care deeply about your customers, your distributors. It's a great place to hang out, and I promise you, it's, as Collie said earlier today, we were talking, she says, well, it's the second wave, maybe even the third, and I'd have to agree with her. We got a whole lot more products other than just Zango, but I wanted to kind of feature that tonight. We have a couple of brand new product lines, the 2-Minute Miracle, fabulous product. I mean, that's just amazing. And we've got the fabulous Shelley McGuire, the inventor of the product, that's a spokesman for the product and the company. I mean, just goodness, we're in some good times. Let's, as Jim Rohn would say, let's don't get caught doing less than we can do. Let's just give it all we got, and let's just see. Just give my little program here a 90-day all-out effort. Just go for it. Pretend that your life is hanging in the balance and go for it. Well, Collie, I think I've ran you way over, and I apologize for all that. But thank you all so much for investing some time with us this evening.
Thank you, Ray. You are the best ever, always.
Thank you, darling.
Well, thank you, Ray, and thank you, Mary. You're both awesome because you're just genuine and real, and the reason you're so successful is just because you just love people and you're doing what you love. You're serving others in so many ways, and we all need that. We all need to be serving others for health, and also for our finances, you know. And next week, our special guest is going to be a 100K premier, Brad Alcazan, who is a 30-year-old who's going to be bringing it for your millennials. So you bring your prospects. You bring every millennial out there who has a dream, who has a desire, but it's not sure that they will know how to do it, if it just seems a little scary to them, because sometimes our industry can be intimidating for people who are brand new in it because they think there's some special secret sauce that you have to have in order to be successful. And of course there is, and Ray Herron just gave it to you tonight. So follow the recipe and you'll achieve it. But next week, bring your best prospects to hear 100K Premier Brad Alcazan present the Zango opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Let's go out and share the message of Zango, health and wealth with the world. And again, thank you, Mary, and thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Collie, for all you do. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Collie. Thank you, Mary. Love you, girls.
Yep. God bless.
God bless everybody. Thank you so very much.